Nintendo is a company I have a love and hate relationship with. On one hand, they made so many games that are my livelihood, such as Zelda and Mario, and on the other hand, they price games horribly.
Look at this dude. Wait till you see the... No, 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 no.
So when they came out with the idea of showing off a lot of their games through a movie starring Fred Savage, you just know it has to be good. Now, for a little background, I first watched this movie when I was around 9, and this movie is in my top 3 movies ever. And this isn't because it's a good movie, because it really isn't. It's in my top 3 all due to my love of 80s and video games, and just also due to the fact I watched this movie every time my parents would fight, or anytime I came home from school after being bullied. So this movie is just one of those comfort movies that make me incredibly happy. So with all this mushy gushy stuff out of the way, let's take a look at the 1989 movie, The Wizard. The movie starts off with a super long shot of one of the main characters, Jimmy Woods, played by Luke Edwards, walking up the road, and when I say long, I mean long. The scene lasts about 1 minute and 40 seconds before the camera changing, which may not seem long, but it definitely is. I can kind of forgive it due to Jimmy not fully being recognizable for a little bit, so a little portion of that time is spent as you try to figure out just what is moving towards the camera.
Ocean man, take me by the hand, lead me to the land that you understand. Ocean man, the voyage to the corner of the globe is a real trip.
But especially after rewatching this movie so many times, the scene definitely drags on. We are then shown just what Jimmy is up to. We find out that Jimmy is in some way special needs and has problems when it comes to communicating and expressing how he feels, and will out of nowhere just up and leave whenever he pleases, which makes his mom, played by Wendy Phillips, and his stepdad, played by Sam Makara, very upset and scared for his safety, feeling as if the only thing they can do is place Jimmy into a home.
Look, we've been sending this boy here for 2 years. I think it's time we started exploring some alternatives. We're thinking about putting him into an institution. A home.
We then get introduced to Jimmy's real father, played by Boa Bridges, and his 2 half-brothers, Corey, played by Fred Savage, and Nick, played by Christian Slater. And let me just say, the father-son chemistry between these two has always made me happy, and the way they interact feels really genuine. Now, I could be saying this due to my nostalgia for this movie, but these two always played their parts very well, at least for what they were given.
What is that? Donuts?
Yeah, so?
It's disgusting.
From the guy who steals my pickup and stays up drinking, the guy with the foul mouth. That's a compliment.
After a fight that breaks out around the dinner table, and fighting later on in the day, Corey decides he has had enough of his life and decides to run away to California, and also decides to take his brother Jimmy along with him. And this is where the movie first starts ignoring logic. Jimmy is already put into this previously mentioned home, and Corey just walks in and takes him. And I understand the 80s were a bit different.
So, Sarah, what's going on here? Sarah? Sarah?
She won't answer you. Or she can't.
Why not?
This is the way it's been since she started smoking pot. She's all lazy and boring and... You know, we used to have so much fun together.
And now?
This is what we do.
But this place where Jimmy is held has no security measures at all. We only see one adult, and most of the children's doors are just wide open, and the front door was just unlocked for Corey to come in. What's stopping these kids from just leaving? And the movie just went over how Jimmy will at any time just get up and leave, so you'd think they'd have someone watching him, or at least make sure there was, I don't know, wasn't a way for him to walk out the front door? And how do we know the adult works here? What if it's just some random person taking the kid, just like Corey is taking Jimmy? And to make things even more unbelievable, Corey and Jimmy just get into the back of a Hostess delivery truck and just hitch a ride. And you're telling me the driver never once heard them or even opened the back door? And to make things even more unbelievable, the next scene with them shows the delivery guy holding another delivery. So that would mean he would have to open the back to grab said delivery, but yeah, I guess he didn't see them. So yes, I love this movie with all my heart. It just has so many errors and mistakes. We then see Corey trying to buy a bus ticket while Jimmy passes the time playing Double Dragon on an arcade machine, and wouldn't you know it, he kicks some dragon balls. He got a score of 50,000, which I know this is nitpicking, and I know the way people played games back in the day was way more casual, but that's just not very impressive, and not very plausible either. First thing is, I love how you can hear him clicking the buttons and moving the joystick, but the game hasn't even started yet. The game is playing a cutscene, and I don't know how many of you have played the original Double Dragon, but if you're even half decent and get basically every point you can get, it would take you about 5 minutes till you hit the 50,000 point mark, and the runtime from when Jimmy first starts playing and gets taken by Corey is about 30 seconds long, which would make Jimmy's score around the 5,000 point mark, which is very similar to 50,000. All you have to do is add a 0 at the end. Jimmy and Corey then come across a young girl named Haley, played by Jenny Lewis, who threatens them to tell her what they're doing or she will scream.
I'm Haley. If you don't tell me what you're doing, I'm gonna scream.
Very classy. I was very surprised on how she ended up making country music instead of continuing acting, but it looks like she's happy, so that's great for her. They end up betting over Double Dragon, over who wins and gets the money needed to buy the bus ticket, and of course Jimmy wins, which yes, there are even more mistakes, but I won't really go in depth. It's just funny that Haley wins with 25,000 points, then dies, and the second Jimmy starts playing, he is already up to 27,000. I definitely see why Jimmy's called the Wizard now. Once finding out that Jimmy is a wizard at video games, Haley suggests that Jimmy should enter a video game competition in California, with the prize being $50,000. So they set out hitchhiking their way along to California. So this movie is probably what you would classify as a road trip movie, which along with the movie being made in the 80s just gives off just some great feelings. While hitchhiking with some truckers, Haley talks about herself a lot, saying how her dad is a trucker, her mom is a model, and her house is very amazing. This does get brought up later, so I thought I'd bring it up now.
Really nice house.
Yeah? Who's your mom?
She packed it in. She was a showgirl. Great legs. I got her legs. What do you think?
While counting their money, the truckers pull over and end up stealing their money and leaving them on the side of the road. And I don't know how poor or sad you have to be to basically steal from kids, but again, the 80s were a different time. This movie is split between the A plot and the B plot. The A plot being Corey and Jimmy going to California, and the B plot being Corey's dad and brother chasing after them while they try to get rid of Putnam, played by Will Seltzer, who is hired by Jimmy's stepdad and mom to retrieve Jimmy. And I have been glossing over this part just due to the fact that the B plot is my favorite thing about this movie. It's just so fun, and yeah, it's kinda stupid, but that's part of the charm. I won't really be going over the B plot, just so if any of you guys decide to check this movie out, you can experience the B plot for yourself. However, while getting their truck fixed, Nick hooks up a Nintendo Entertainment System and plays some good old Super Mario Bros. 2, which is well known for being a Video Game Dunkey's Game of the Year 10 years in a row.
And you just hook it up, you don't ask.
It's not like I'm cutting tags off of mattresses, Pop. It's just a video game. You ought to know you bought it for him.
I'd be going over 5 Fortnite YouTubers who've sworn.
One of the next scenes is one of the scenes I think of the most when thinking about this movie. And nothing really happens, it's just a montage of them hitchhiking to Reno through bikers and asking people to pick them up. But the reason I love this part so much is due to the song that plays while this montage happens. The song is Send Me an Angel by Real Life, and this is where I first heard this song, and is what really got me into the 80s music and culture. This song is one of my favorite songs ever. Now sadly I can't play it due to copyright, but I recommend everyone listening to it after this video. It's actually really good. If you don't like 80s music, you may not like it, but I still suggest you try and listen to it.
Mining away I don't know what to mine, I'll mine this anyway. In this Minecraft day, so beautiful, further down. What's that I found? Mine diamonds. Mine diamonds. I'll mine them.
During a bet, Corey hears of a kid named Lucas who apparently is also going to the contest and is very well known for being great at games, so thinking here's another chance for Corey to get money, they set off to meet Sir Lucas, Master of Games. And if you have ever heard anything about this movie at all, this part is probably what you've heard of. And
Jeez. I love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
the Power Glove was such an odd idea and cost so much for basically what was just a very poorly made controller for $100. So Nintendo trying to make it seem that you would be so cool and be better at games if you had this Power Glove is actually kind of a smart idea to get it to sell. Too bad it sucked. I guess he wasn't joking when he said it's so bad. Lucas is just so cool and so bad that Jimmy gets scared and leaves, making Corey and Haley look like fools. Later, Jimmy, Corey, and Haley get found by some teens who are mad at Jimmy for winning. So they come trying to take their money back and during the process steal Jimmy's hat and open his lunchbox he has carried everywhere with him throughout the whole movie. And this is another thing I have kinda glossed over. Jimmy has had this lunchbox with him forever, and he brings it everywhere he goes, and no one knows what's inside it. But it turns out Jimmy had a twin sister who sadly passed away right in front of Jimmy due to drowning in a river, which is most likely the cause of Jimmy's difficulties with expressing himself and communicating. Inside his box had pictures of his sister along with things associated with her, such as her shoes, so in a way Jimmy having her things in the box, he has been just kind of taking her with him wherever he goes.
They got down by the river, Jimmy and her, and somehow Jennifer got too close. Jimmy couldn't swim, so he was afraid. It was weird. 'Cause she didn't go downstream at all, she just died.
Wow, thanks Nintendo. Nothing like good old child drowning and death in my Nintendo movie. Jimmy and gang finally make it to where they are setting up shop till the big competition. During this time, Jimmy's practicing every game he could possibly play while Haley calls a Nintendo hotline. Yes, those were real, to learn all the secrets and tricks to every game. So this is kind of a montage, but also in a way not really. But there's something I'm so confused about. Take a look at this scene.
Peanut bars, bubblegum, licorice. Hey, babe. And, keep the change.
Obviously I wasn't alive during the 80s and I haven't been to an arcade since I was like 7, but was this a thing? Was there people dressing up and walking around selling things, and why she dressed as if she was working at a strip club or a casino? I don't know, something just seems slightly off, but who knows? I don't, that's for sure. Speaking of scenes that kind of feel off, this scene even when I was 9 or so definitely felt icky.
Jimmy boy, time to go home, son.
We're too late. He touched my breast!
What the hell are you doing? No, I didn't touch anything. You can't have the kid. The kid is. What are you?
Yeah, what the f, Nintendo? And to make things worse, look what he says a bit later.
Reno, BROOKS. I touched her breast. She doesn't have any breasts.
Nintendo, why are you making jokes about this? I'm just gonna talk about something else before I throw up. Never mind, you can go back. Please go back. No, please, just throw this away, throw it away, burn it with fire, Get rid of it, please. We'll go back to the video, okay? I'm so sorry for ever doubting you. So this is something that has always made me so mad while talking on the roof of Haley's house, which is the complete opposite of what she has been hyping it up to be. Corey says this.
Zelda. Zelda. Yeah, you know, it's like the Adventures of Link. He has to find Zelda. You have to find a house. Same difference.
Did they just not play Zelda 2? I understand it isn't the best game, but come on. That's not what happens. You start the game right next to Zelda. If the goal of the game was to find Zelda, the game would be just a tad bit shorter. There she is. Wow, guys, I did it. I beat Zelda 2. It wasn't really that hard or long. I see why people don't talk about this one.
Want a break from the...
This video is sponsored by TubeBuddy. Kinda. If you're like me and struggling with gaining subscribers and views, TubeBuddy is a great place to start. TubeBuddy allows you to find trending tags that you can then put in your video to gain more attention, which already is super helpful. But wait, there's more. TubeBuddy also allows you to see how your video is doing not only in comparison to your channel, but in comparison to everyone else's too. You can see much more in-depth channel analytics than you ever could before. The reason I say this video is sponsored by TubeBuddy is due to me being an affiliate with them. Basically what that means is if you're interested in TubeBuddy, you can click the link in the description and download TubeBuddy for free. And if you ever decide to pay for an upgraded version later on, I will gain a small portion of that money. I just started using TubeBuddy in the last week or so and I have already seen a huge growth in subs and views, so I recommend trying TubeBuddy right now. You can click the link in the description or type www.tubebuddy.com/media adoration. Thank you for the short ad break and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. So not only is this movie a big old Nintendo commercial, it's also a Universal Studios ad. You get to see some of the attractions and fun balloons and things like that. And the video game competition just so happens to be a Universal Studios, and so Jimmy just in the nick of time is able to sign up. And this is something that's always confused me. So there apparently is no entry fee, which, alright, I guess that makes sense. But it appears as if anyone can come in and play because they ask to register and they never call ahead or anything, they just show up and ask.
What game is it? What game are they playing?
Well, for the prelims, we're playing Ninja Gaiden. Hey!
He knows Ninja Gaiden. We're in. It's great.
You're in. Fantastic. Pin this to his back and hustle it on in there. You're blowing it. You're late. Move it, move it, move it!
So this whole competition seems just slightly not very well organized, or at least it would end up being chaotic. And it also appears that the competition isn't in separate age categories either. At the time, Lucas was around 13 and Jimmy is 9, which that isn't a huge age gap, but I would assume a 13-year-old would be much better at video games than a 9-year-old. Obviously in the final competition I don't really count that because, well, it's the final competition, but at least work their way up. Don't let a 9-year-old go against a 30-year-old man. Obviously this is exaggerating, but still. Of course Jimmy wins because, well, he is the wizard after all, and this is where everything goes down. The 3 finalists, Jimmy, Lucas, and some other girl. And the final game is the one, the only, Knack. Just kidding, it's Mario 3. But this movie basically was the first time people saw or heard of Mario 3, so that's kind of cool, and I know if I was in the theaters when I was this young, seeing this movie, I'd be super excited. Lucas seems like he was about to win, but just before he does, Jimmy finds the secret area in the first castle level. Now I know what you're thinking. How on earth did Jimmy know this was here? I have no idea. It's not like this game was shown at all, at least in this universe where the movie takes place. This is the first time anybody in the world, obviously besides the people who made it, have seen this game. So unless Jimmy worked on the game, or I don't know, his uncle worked at Nintendo, there's no way he would have known this secret. But due to Jimmy magically figuring this out, he wins the $50,000, which they oddly don't bring up. They don't show them getting a payment, they don't show some check, no one even brings it up. So I have no idea what that's about, but we finally find out just why Jimmy was wanting to go to California all this time. It's honestly a very sweet scene and kind of sad for a Nintendo ad, and yeah, it's kind of anticlimactic, but I liked it and I think it's very touching.
What is this? What's going on?
It's all of us. It was taken here. Jimmy. Jimmy, this is California. I guess he just wanted to leave her in a place where she was happy.
And that's the end of the movie. They just drive off and show credits. Now, there is a few things I want to talk about. First thing is, I want to talk about the plethora of mistakes in this movie. There are parts of the movie, specifically during montages, where Jimmy is playing games, but some of the games they show were never even on arcades, such as Super Metroid and I believe even the first Mario, so that's kind of odd. Another thing I thought was funny was during the final fight against the finalists, Jimmy lets go of the controller and the game keeps playing on its own. This right here, like, I understand maybe some of the other mistakes, but this is a huge one. I have no idea how no one noticed this. And I thought I should bring it up just because it's actually very sad, but the actor who played Lucas is actually a registered sex offender now, who dealt with child molestation charges, and I honestly believe he probably was taken advantage of due to him being a young child actor, and they almost always have it rough. And now, this is not me saying what he did was justified, because it's not, but still, child actors are horribly overworked and mistreated, and I hope in the future this can be fixed. I've been struggling lately with what kind of content I should make. I changed my YouTube name from World of Gaming to Media Adoration. This is due to me wanting to branch out and cover different things in media. I love video games so much, but I also really love movies, and I feel I just couldn't reach enough people through just talking about video games. So this is basically my game plan from right now. As for how I want to structure my videos, I'm thinking about taking inspiration from commentary YouTubers such as Drew Gooden, Curtis Connor, and Danny Gonzalez. Other YouTubers I really want to learn from are people like Pyrocynical. But with all that out of the way, I would love so much if you let me know what you think on my videos, such as this, and if you have any ideas for future movies I should talk about, and what kind of content you would enjoy watching. I really do want to start making fun and diverse content that people can watch and have fun with. So if you made it this far, you probably enjoyed this video, so feel free to subscribe and like this video. It helps so much and lets me know if I should stick with a certain format. And if you truly want to help me out, I started a Patreon, so if you'd like to help me out that way, check out the description where you can find a bit more info and the links. I hope you all enjoyed, thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.